Hey guys, welcome back. Today's story number 9, and I'm on my own today. It's just going to be me. I'm just going to tell you guys a little story. It's basically my introduction to crime, and it's kind of a silly story now looking back, but it wasn't so funny at the time, but it's pretty lighthearted, so I figure I'm going to let you guys in on this little story, and then next week things are going to get kind of crazy. So we're really kind of getting into the time of our lives with this story where things get pretty dark and pretty scary there for a little while. So we are gonna keep it light though today. I'm gonna tell you guys about my first time going to jail. So basically by this point last week I talked about my daughter moving in with my aunt for a while, and my aunt having guardianship of her. So at this point her dad and I were separated. We were both seeing other people, and I was living with my boyfriend, and at this point we were, heavy into drugs, struggling a lot, and all we focused on was using. So it was, there was always an issue about having enough money, and so we basically found ourselves in a situation where we were willing to commit crime to, make enough money to get our next hit. So that's what we were focused on. So basically, one evening, my boyfriend and I had we decided that we were going to go to Home Depot in Issaquah, and we were going to steal something. So what we did back in those days is we would steal an item from a store, an item or however many items, and then we would try to return them without a receipt, and then either get cash back, which hardly ever happened, or get a gift card, which then we would sell the gift card for cash, and then that would be our money for our dope. So it's like this huge long process that we would have to go through every time, every day. And looking back, it's just like, man, just to get a little tiny bit of money so that we could make sure that we were well. So it's kind of crazy. But anyways, we decided we were going to hit Home Depot, and we were really using our brains because we decided we were going to go at the worst possible time when they were about 30 minutes before closing. It was probably like 9:30 at night. And so there was hardly anybody in the store. They were getting ready to close down. We were one of the only people there, and we pulled into the parking lot, and I'm pretty sure we probably got high in the parking lot in our car before we went inside. And we thought we were going to be really sneaky and sly about it. So we went in separately, and we're like, we don't want them to know we're together. We're really thinking. And so he goes off one direction, I go off in another, and I have no idea what I'm doing, mind you. This is the first time that I'd ever actually really stolen something. So I'm thinking okay, I think I'm being all sly and all sneaky. And I grab this giant, I think it was a skill saw blade. It was in a huge box. And I had this big, huge, empty purse bag thing that I was carrying around, which was probably clue number 1 that we were pretty shady. And I decided I put it on my arm, and I walk into the women's bathroom, and I take it out of the box. I fold the box all up and stuff it in the garbage can in the bathroom, and then I stuff this giant saw blade in my bag. And I walk out, and I'm feeling all confident. I think I've got this. And mind you, we thought that we had it all planned to a T, that we were so brilliant with what we were doing, but little did we know that from the minute we had pulled into the parking lot, they had cameras on us. They had seen suspicious activity, and they were watching us before we even entered the store. So they're watching us very closely the entire time, but we have no clue. We think we're being so sly. So I'm like, I'm going to walk over to the paint center, and I'm going to pretend like I'm shopping for paints, and I'm talking to the lady there, and of course, at this point, she totally knows what we're doing, and she's been very polite and very nice, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to paint, whatever. And I am just kind of walking around the store pretending to shop. And I didn't know at this point that my boyfriend had already tried to walk out of the store, and he had gotten snatched up by loss prevention. So he had already been grabbed up, and he was in the back of the store with the security people. So I go to walk out the door. Like I said, I didn't know he had been caught already. And all of a sudden, this girl comes up behind me, and she jumps at me, and she's like, loss prevention, and she grabs me. And I could tell, I just out of the corner of my eye, I could see that she was little. She was small. I'm 5'9", almost 5'9", and she was maybe 5'1", And so anyways, I'm like thinking, okay, I can take this girl, no problem. So like, you know how there's like the doors that you first walk out of, and they're like in that weird little doorway and the hallway, and then there's doors on either side. We made it out the first doors, and we're just like fighting each other. I'm trying to get her off, and she's like clinged onto my back. And then we make it out the second set of doors where there's a couple of employees outside. There's like a family walking in with their child watching, and her and I are just fighting, and I'm like trying with everything I have to get this girl off me. She's like she's just got to cling on to me. And so finally, I don't know what she did. She did like some magic, I don't know what she did, but she like flipped me over. She got me on my stomach on the ground, and I hit my chin on the concrete, and I just start bleeding down my chin and down my neck. And I'm like, and she sits on my back, and she's like, stop resisting. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, damn. So she's got me, and she stands me up, and she's like, come on, we're going to the back. And I was like, I'm looking at her like, how the hell did you just do that? And I'm like, you're really small. Like, how did you get me down like that? She was like, I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. And I was like, of course you are. Of course you are. So anyways, she had me. I had no chance, no shot. She was like half my size, half my weight, and she just like flipped me and threw me on the ground. So anyways, I'm walking back there, and I'm bleeding, and I'm doing the walk of shame through the whole store. There's still some people in there. All the employees are looking at me. Some of them are laughing at me. I mean, it was just, I've got this huge saw blade in my bag that I'm trying to walk out of the store with. And then I walk into the back room, and there's my boyfriend with this big, huge, security guy. And I'm just like, oh God. So I was at this point terrified. I'm crying, and they're calling the police, and I had no idea until the end of that scenario that I was actually going to go to jail. I mean, I figured I might get like a fine or something, but no, they called the Issaquah police, and we got escorted to jail. So I ended up staying. That was my very first night in jail, and the next day I ended up getting released. But yeah, so that, I mean, it's just looking back, it's like, what was I thinking? Yeah, obviously it wasn't running on all cylinders then, because it's just like, it was a terrible plan. The timing was horrible. I mean, not that I'm ever, like, stealing's not a good thing to do ever, but just looking back, it's like, these things, you don't think about them. They don't occur to you. You just get an idea. You're honed in on your goal, which is getting your dope, because it consumes your every thought. And so you do what you think you need to do to get it. So it's kind of a silly story, but it is the reality of the situation. I know a lot of people have gone through the same thing, and it's interesting to look back now and be able to laugh at it, but at the time it was very serious, and it is a testament to just how much these drugs become an obsession, and how much you are willing. I don't even know if it's so much willing, you don't even really think about it, but you lose your sense of self. You lose who you really are, and that kind of fades away, because you have to do everything. You think you have to do everything that you can to get what you need, and so it gets kind of rough. But there you go, guys. Embarrassing, right? But it's true. So that was just the beginning of my little crime spree that I went on. We'll talk about that more later. I was in and out of jail several times, but that was the very beginning of it. So it pretty much just gets stupider as I go along, but what can you do? Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys on Thursday for our solution video. Mwah. Bye.